How you doing? There are 5 main marriage mistakes, I guarantee, if your wife wants separation, you are making with her. And these are core level mistakes you're making. So, for example, when your wife says that, or you think that you can't communicate, that's not the core actual issue. I want you to think of it like a tree, okay? That has all these branches. I know I have a beautiful tree. You don't have to tell me I'm an artist. I should be like Bob Ross, but the point I'm trying to make. And you think all the issues are these branches. The branches are the problem, right? Really, the root is the problem. And that if you try to effectively deal with the communication issues, there's actually a deeper issue. No matter how much you deal with the actual content of the problem, there's always going to be core fundamental problems that if you don't fix, there will always be communication issues. The branches will always grow back. So if you can't communicate with your wife, you guys are bickering, arguing, whatever, it's because of one of these 5 areas that you are failing to understand. So let's jump into the first. The first one is a lack of masculinity. Now, a lot of men get confused about what masculinity is. I'm not going to sit here and tell you what it means to be a man because every man has their own individual code. What I can tell you is that your wife wants you to show up being a certain type of man, and that kind of guy she respects and admires and feels far more in love with than if you weren't to be that way. Which is why a lot of women say when they're about to leave you, I'm just no longer in love with you. Because you were not conveying the correct masculinity to make her feel attracted and respected toward you. Let's give a small example. There's a paradigm here, a spectrum of what I call the nice guy to the apex male, to the a-hole, right? So the nice guy is on the far left. This guy bends over backwards for his wife. He does everything he can to try to beg and plead, and he is afraid of conflict. And this is the beta male, a low status male. Now, unfortunately, there's a large subset of men who teach a lot of coaching to other guys that say this is a high value male on this end. This guy is controlling, he is avoidant, he is aggressive, he's overly alpha, the alpha male. I hate that term. Okay. Now, what you want to convey, proper masculinity that your wife is attracted to, is what I call the apex male, which we'll talk about down here. I'll just type it in since I just said it. But the improper masculinity is why she's either losing respect for you on this end of the spectrum, or she doesn't feel safe if you're on that end of the spectrum. And both of those core needs need to be addressed to be this apex male. Okay, I'll go into more depth about it down here, but this is the basis of masculinity, having assertion in your goals, strong boundaries, but also showing compassion and empathy. This is the balance between both realms. The second is not having a growth mindset. As men, we are seeking challenge and peace consistently, right? Those are the 2 emotions we have. I want to feel peace, just chill, relax, but I also want to seek challenge. Now, a lot of guys, they seek their challenge in their job, right? The job will always be a problem. But somewhere along the line, we were told in our society, or someone told us, or you assumed incorrectly that your wife should never be a challenge. The only time she's a challenge for you is when you are trying to get her. And then once you get her, once you marry her, I don't need to put in the work. You become complacent. You just start to put more energy investment into the kids and your job. And you think, you know what, it's fine. And you take your wife for granted. And what happens is that your wife has core needs. And if she's a high value woman, she knows she can get something else out there to get her needs met. She's going to go do that. She's going to find someone who invests in her, or puts her higher up on a priorities list, who goes on dates, who looks at her in the eyes the way you did when you first fell in love with her. And this is why a wife will leave a guy like that. It's because he failed to recognize that over the years and years of taking her for granted and not having a growth mindset in who he is as a man, he lost her. A growth mindset is taking care of yourself, is constantly seducing your wife, becoming the best version of who you are. You see, if you're not growing, you're the same man you were when she met you, and she's growing, she's going to grow apart from you. It's just that simple. The third one is a lack of connection. I was speaking with a woman the other day that I helped save her marriage with her husband. And she said, Josh, I told him, her husband, that guy I was working with, I'd rather have 20 minutes of my husband's undivided, devout attention and connection than 3 hours of discarded connection on the phone, just watching TV together. A woman needs this sense of connection. If she cannot get connection from you, she's going to go seek it in TV dramas, and Facebook, and chocolate, and shopping, and all these addictions, right? It's a form of getting love. And your best gift that you can give a woman is your undivided attention and connection. Women crave it more than anything else. They want that attention. And for a lot of men, they choose to separate from their wife and not connect with her because they don't feel competent around her issues and her way of expressing her emotions. And every time she has a negative emotion, you feel like, I just don't know how to deal with it. And so your ability to increase that amount of connection with your wife is dependent on your ability to express your authentic emotion and understand hers. This is a core skill I teach my men in the Marriage Mastery program. You see, once you have the ability and the competence to deal with your wife's emotions, that's how you connect with her. You cannot connect with her on a superficial level. So many guys think that if I provide for my wife financially, if I am just there listening to her stories or her complaints, that's enough. Your wife needs to feel completely understood, like you understand her soul. And you do that through the skill of emotional intelligence, right? And this positive regard, as I call it, this unconditional positive regard. Now, if you struggle with this deep form of connection, there's lots of reasons why, but I can give you those tools and those skills on a 1-hour simple call. If you want to set that call, what you can do right now is there's limited spots each week. So click the link down below, fill out the application, show you are committed, and my marriage evaluator is going to get on the phone with you and tell you exactly how to achieve all 5 of these skills on that simple 1-hour call. All right. Number 4, as we alluded to, is the apex male. Now, the apex male, as we said before, let's expand on this. So there's qualities of the nice guy, beta male, blue pill. These are all different names for the same thing. And there's qualities of the a-hole, right? The alpha male, the arrogant guy. I don't know how else to describe that. I give a good depiction here. Now, a lot of guys think that they throw the baby out with the bathwater. That oftentimes if a guy is this nice guy, they're thinking to themselves, if that didn't work, I have to be this a-hole. That's what women are attracted to. The truth of the matter is that there's a sweet spot in the middle. You see, women, they want it all. They want a high-value man that comprises both protector traits of the a-hole guy, but also provider traits of the nice guy. And you can adopt the positive qualities of each of these subsets of men and get rid of the negative types, okay? When you understand the positive qualities of the provider male that she wants, but also give her the dominance qualities of the protector male, this is what a top 1% man actually is. It's 1% right there, okay? When you can embody this man, this is the guy she craves as, not just her, every woman sweetly desires, right? On a core fundamental level. And society tells you that you just have to be this guy. And for the longest time, in the 1950s, 1930s, the 50s, 60s, 70s, this was enough to keep a woman. But because technology and things are evolving, the modern woman can take care of herself. So providing her financially and just being there as a husband is not enough anymore. You have to adopt these positive qualities in the dominance trait as well. And for some guys, they have some of these traits, but they abandoned the nice guy traits of providing for her on a connection level that they lost her as well. Okay, so if you can embody both of these, you are a top 1% man that she will never leave. The last one, the biggest mistake of marriages is talking about your problems. What's controversial, right? So as a therapist, I realized pretty early on that under the dual therapy context, it's an outdated model. It works for some men in some couples. I'm not going to knock it completely, but one of the biggest flaws in the therapy model that I recognized is I would go in there and it would be like a referee match. I was trying to like have both of them under. I remember one couple in particular. I'll tell you this story. This one couple, man, I was working with, and they were constantly, I could feel that they were just trying to come in there and prove that their story was right. And I was just trying to get them to see the deeper underlying nuances of how to connect, uncompromise, and have these different forms of empathy and compassion, all this stuff, but I could not get through to both of them. And I recognized, I was like, you know what? Instead of talking about the problems and having them come together, it's like you have a dance move with your wife. You and her are dancing, you have these dance moves, and the dance isn't working anymore. You're stepping on each other's toes, and it's just not effective. So what I figured is like, I'm gonna separate you two, and I'm gonna have the man learn new dance moves. And instead of talking about the problems, he's gonna become a better man, the best version of himself. And then when the wife feels more connected and in love and have more persuasion over her. You see, here's the thing. Once you become this higher value man and you learn these new dance moves, you influence her emotions more and she accepts your influence more. And when you're able to have more influence over your wife, you can talk about these problems after you embody these 4 traits, and then you can deal with them. But a lot of men will go straight into the problems when their wife doesn't respect them, when she doesn't feel safe with him, when there's no connection, and he's not a high value man. But if you can embody these 4 qualities first, then you have the ability to talk about your problems. Because if you talk about your problems with the wrong tool set, you're only making things worse. Again, if you need help with all this, click the link down below. I would love to help you out. Get on a call with my marriage evaluator. Thank you for watching the video. Smash like and watch. There's so many other videos here on this channel, and I'll be posting every single day. And thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Cheers.
Cheers.